Yeah, so is it fun for you, Abhi?
Yeah.
Today I want to do a different episode. It's not an interview. It's like a chat with my buddy Abhi.
Cheers.
Cheers. Since when do we know each other?
Yeah, since 2015.
Yeah,
So 6 years.
6 years. And we live together.
Can't believe we are still friends.
Yeah. We cried together. We loved. And we worked together at. Can you guess it? No, it's for the listeners.
Okay.
Can you guess it where we worked together? We worked together in Trivago, obviously. And Trivago was the first company you worked outside of India, isn't it?
Yeah. It was my second job and first job in Europe.
Like, Germany was the first country outside of India that you ever visited, right?
Basically, yeah.
So one day you decided, I mean, we spoke about this already, I'm just telling the story, but
Yeah.
so one day you decided that you wanted to work in Europe, or how was that thing? How did you get the job in Trivago?
No, I think actually that's also a crazy story because I did not apply thinking that I was applying in Germany. Yeah. I literally, I don't know, it was just one day of frustration of work or something, and I was looking at, I was trying to look at other jobs or something at some point. I didn't apply anywhere, and then I went to YouTube, of course. And then Trivago ad always keeps popping up. So I went to the website looking at what's this product about, and I clicked the website, and I saw, okay, that's cool. And I went to job section, and I found a job which was exactly what I was doing in India. It was PHP, JavaScript, and all the stuff. So I kind of knew all the skills. So I just applied without knowing.
But did you know about Trivago before?
Nothing. I didn't know where the company was. I thought it was an Indian company.
What?
And then I had a first interview from Patrick Kuster, and I thought, okay, maybe somebody is working in India. And then he asked me, will you be willing to move to Düsseldorf? And I was like, okay, sure. And then I had to Google where is Düsseldorf.
You're like, did you think Düsseldorf was somehow in India? No.
No. At that time I just said yes because I didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I will research that later. And then I later found out, okay. Then I actually had a look into the company, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's in Germany and all that. Yeah. So at some point, they asked me that I had to come over into Germany for the interview for the final round. And yeah, that was my first flight ever.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I mean, of course, because I was not up for the flight. I was quite excited, but in general, like going outside to a completely new world, I would say, it was definitely a little bit stressful.
What about your parents? Like, when did you tell them?
Yeah, the first reaction was, of course, like the typical Indian mom, no, you can't leave the country, that's too far and all that. But eventually she understood, like, okay, maybe it's a good chance for me itself.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like, okay, it's after a few days she went okay with that.
So in India you worked in a startup, right?
Yeah, working in startups is probably the same everywhere, whereas the life becomes a little bit busy.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a strict role. Yes, you might have on papers, but on the field you have to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Other than what you could be doing. We
can do? So, because I worked in a startup here in Germany, right?
All right, true.
And you worked in a startup in India. So let's compare both our paths.
And that's a good
Let's
idea.
forget about Trivago.
Okay.
It's boring.
Yeah.
So the startup I worked at the name was weekend.com, and basically it was a travel company that did packages, dynamic packages. So it basically connected a hotel with a flight, and you could travel mainly in Europe. You could find your package, book, and fly away. What was your company?
So my company was called 91mobiles.com, and it was a meta search for mobile phones.
Right.
And
the Trivago.
It's basically Trivago. So that's why Trivago job looked very familiar to me. And now of course they do a lot of other electronics as well, like laptop, tablets. But back then it was just mobile meta search, and our job was there was already a product running, and it was already making money. but it was just the code written by founders at that moment or initial thing. And now then we were hired, an engineering manager was hired, and 5 of us.
Yeah.
And we basically
in Delhi. This was in Delhi, right?
This was in Gurgaon, Delhi. So it's a place close to Delhi, and we were basically hired to revamp the whole website. And
so how did you get hired? Tell me the interview. How did you find the job, first of all?
Well, I found this job in my college. So from a campus placement. The company came there. I think that's also actually a very crazy story, because when I was doing my final year, the placement manager has quit. Placement manager who was responsible for doing the coordination, where the companies would come to the college and hire students, but he left the college, or she left the college, sorry. And so I had like no hope that anybody is coming, because there was nobody to manage. But apparently that someone had joined, and she was already working on some things. And I was chilling in my home, and some of my friend called me and said, "Hey, there is this company, 91 Mobiles. He's in this college, and you have to come. Where are you?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm in home. I'm not coming to college today." And he was like, "No, you have to come. This is probably..."
You haven't come for a month.
Yeah, basically I was not going to college like last few months. I mean, I was chilling.
It's the only thing you need for a year. That's only thing.
And he literally like forced me, like, "Dude, this is the company. Like, they need developers. I know you like to code." Because every other subject I was terrible at. So, and he was like, "You have to come." And I entered the interview process had already started, because there was some kind of like online test everybody had to do, and they were filtering out students as a first step, and the next step was in-person rounds. And then my teammate, because who called me, my friend, he was already in the placement committee, and he kind of like gave me a side computer. He's like, "Okay, do your test here." And then I got selected.
So, what is that, a side computer?
No, he just like it was not in the already planned computer labs. He just gave me a.
So there was no space for you.
Yeah, there was nothing. So he just gave me something.
And then what?
Yeah, and
keep on talking. I will just bring my charger.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so this was basically the first round, and then the next round was, I think, in-person round with one engineer from the team.
So the way I got. So now I'll tell you my story.
Yeah.
I was looking for something outside of trivago as well, because I was a bit already. So this was after trivago, by the way. I was a bit. I want to explore new things, and I was actually having a side project. I'm always having side projects, and this side project was to create dynamic packages as well.
Actually, I remember you talked with me about this project.
Yeah.
Side project, yeah. That you wanted to build something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
No, how was it? I don't remember. So I had a.
That's something which would plan a package for you.
Yeah.
You would put inputs.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Then I created like a group, like a Facebook group, where my bot was posting this. So I was basically trying to find a random destination plus a flight plus a hotel, and like mixing everything together. I don't remember, it was something like this. And then it was putting all the best deals on a Facebook group. And I saw like, okay, this is super cool. And I was actually looking for an app, and I found Weekend, and basically did everything I was doing with an amazing design. I was like, wow, this is super cool. And then I was looking, what is this app? And then I like, where are they from? And like, Düsseldorf. I'm like, what? What? Literally next to me? How is it possible? Then I sent them an email saying, here's my CV. I love your product. Let's talk.
Oh wow! So you didn't look for jobs? Or
No.
You just wrote.
Yeah. And then we had an.
To whom? Support?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, support. I don't know, whatever. Like you didn't know this story?
No, I did not.
Oh, you're faking.
I did not know.
You're faking it.
I did not know that you directly applied. I thought you wrote an email. I thought you applied somewhere.
No, I didn't apply.
Okay.
I just wrote the email. And then they said like, yeah, Thiago, let's talk. And I had the chat with Lars, which is the kind of the CTO. And we are chatting. It's like, we need a front-end engineer. And I said like, okay, I'm not a front-end engineer. Okay. So sorry, I cannot do that. I don't even want to do that. And it's like, okay, that's a pity. We had like a nice chemistry. We spoke about, the company. That's a pity, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sorry, then maybe in the future if we find something. Okay. then I turn off the call, with this feeling that I liked it. I like talking with him. It felt super nice, but yeah, it's a pity. Then 2 days after, he sends me a message like, Tiago, let's talk again. And basically what happened was that they found a job for me. They created a job for me. They're like, okay,
wow.
forget it, let's do it. Let's bring Tiago. And they like rearranged the budget. And then I spoke with the CEO as well, Tobias. And we had like a lot of talks. We spoke about, I was super open because back then I was telling that maybe I was going to go back to Portugal in a couple of months. So I was saying like maybe in 6 months or so I'm leaving. So I was like super open since the beginning, and they said, okay, Tiago, it's fine. Let's keep on talking. And then yeah, in the end, so then I got a job. They said like, okay, Tiago, you got a job. Let's do the technical interview now. I was like, what?
Wow.
And then we had like a technical interview. Lars and I have a technical interview, which was like super simple. I remember like one of his questions was like,
Write a for loop.
Yeah, I was like, okay, while if like what?
Print hello world.
Print hello world, and I couldn't
10
make it.
times.
No, they're like, yeah, you already got the job, but like, okay, so imagine your Jenkins build is failing. How would you fix it? Like, it's very generic. I guess I would check the logs and see what's failing and then fix it. And like, okay, yeah, that's good. And then I was like, but what other answer could
You're
it be?
hired. There's the build which is actually failing.
And yeah, and then I got hired, and I started 3 months after.
That's cool.
So what about your chats when you spoke with the CTO and the manager? What did you speak about? Did you get tested? How was it?
For my interview in my startup,
Yeah.
I mean, it was, like I said, a campus placement, so it was like a very hardcore interview. It was not like that I applied to them or something. But more interviews were like actually like trying to write some program which the engineering manager asked us. Basically, how it would work is like they would just ask, I don't know, there are 2 arrays, you add them and sort them or something like that. And I think I talked with the engineering manager later. Usually, what they do is the idea is not to be able to solve it, but rather how you approach towards a problem.
Yeah. How do you think? Right?
Exactly. What are your steps? Would you immediately, like, I don't know, start writing something fancy or something simple? And if they give you hints in between, would you catch up on that?
Yeah.
So I think that's what more important for them at that moment. And the final round, actually, I don't remember. It was with the founder and the engineering manager itself. I think it was more probably some kind of like formal discussion about just like not about code, basically.
Yeah. And the paycheck, was it good?
Well, I wouldn't say it was good. I mean, it was probably, let's say, maybe the minimum possible they could give.
Do startups pay less than more established companies in India?
Actually, I wouldn't say that. Depends. Like, if the startup is doing well, for example, my startup was already making money, so they could have paid well. But maybe, for example, later next year, I got a very big salary raise from the same company. I'm sorry. So yeah,
You're burping the beer.
Sorry.
I know why they never give beer in the podcast. They
Exactly.
always drink whiskey. Doing the same.
Podcast 101.
Yeah. Okay. I'm learning. I mean, it's the first time drinking beer in a podcast, but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, for some reason, we 2 of us were hired from the same college, and both of us were given same salary, and it wasn't that much.
For me, I can tell you that they paid the same as trivago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which, I mean, was not amazing, but it's funny. So normally when you change jobs, you get a raise. You always, at least in Europe.
Yeah. If you ask for it.
I mean, you always try to go to a job where you get paid more. I guess that's.
Yeah, but did you ask them higher and they said they could not pay or something like that?
No, I told them that like at least the same, because I knew it's a startup. They were not making they were making money, but they were not profitable.
Okay.
So I said like, I mean, they at least pay me the same, and they did, and they said like, yeah, Tiago, we give you the same job, the same salary, and after 6 months with a raise, immediately, not a big raise, but yeah, a raise. So I said, okay, yeah, then I mean, like I really like it because they took that aside. Okay, it's not for the money. You're getting the same. So now we really know if you want to come here or not.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think pay system, at least in Europe, is a bit fair.
Yeah.
Compared to India, I would say like, okay, I also worked there in 2000, I don't know, 13, 14, so which is like long back. But at least in Delhi side that time, I wouldn't say it was fair. People were earning different, like same positions could be earning a huge difference in terms of salary.
Is it like taboo to speak about your salary?
Yeah, that's why you cannot speak about your salary.
You cannot?
I mean, you can, but it would be weird, right? So if you talk with, yes, for example, my team, later I became friends, so they knew my salary. But otherwise, let's imagine it's a big company, a little bit bigger, like, I don't know, 50, 100 people. Then you don't want to know that, I don't know, you are earning, I don't know, twice the same person in some other person in same position. And it could go really like that much difference.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that would never happen in
in Europe this would not happen. Like also maybe
in Germany, in Portugal that happens.
Okay, that I don't know.
But in Germany, I don't think
at least, I've never heard that.
So in my startup, I knew that like we're all kind of making more or less the same salary. And I remember the first time I joined the company, and it's funny because I was used to work in Trivago before, and Trivago had the talent and like the HR in the department, right? Where everything is very like you join and you have like an onboarding week and you have everything super specific.
Don't tell me you were expecting that.
Yeah, I mean I was. I was. No, actually, the first time I joined was for a party. So I joined and they were doing some like a party, like was it a Christmas party? Or no, summer party. Sorry.
So before joining, they invited you just to catch up with the team.
Exactly. Cool. No, I was already hired, but I was not still like I was still working in Trivago. So like, okay, join for this party, and I joined to the office. I got there, and I guess no one was actually like, "Who are you?" I was like, Tiago, I'm the new guy and joining. And like, hey, Tiago, what's up? All right, so let's go to this party, and then everyone like went in their different cars. There's no buses or whatever, of course. We're like 15, and then I just went to the party and it was super nice. It was at one of the Rebecca's house, one of the employees, and we just like drank and chatted but nothing. And then my first actual day, it was very much like, hey, I'm here, okay. And I was like, what do I do now? Like there was no, like they gave me my laptop and like set up your laptop, but in Trivago they had like a page, like a Confluence page where they said like do this, do that, create your Slack, create your email. Here in the startup I had to ask everything.
Yeah, for sure.
The same for you?
I mean, for me, I had of course nothing to compare, but like I said, we were hired to revamp the whole website from the initial setup, so there was nothing, no Git even. So we had to install, like I didn't even know Git before. So then later learned about those versioning softwares and like install the infrastructure. In college I didn't study, bro.
But did you learn with your colleagues?
Yeah, for sure. But I think I gave up on studies quite long back.
Why?
I don't know. It was our education system is a little bit more like it's not very practical, I would say. Very theoretized. You have to learn quite a lot.
Mine is the same. In Portugal is the same.
Yeah, so I was never a good student anyways. And then I was like, okay, I know how to code. I will get into that from other sources. Like I just knew those books were my favorites, and that's it. Nothing else.
You read books? You learn?
Books or some YouTube or whatever. But nothing else. Anyway, so for me it was even that. Like nothing was, no softwares were installed, no Jira, nothing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So people were writing emails to do tasks.
What?
Like PO or founders. It was basically founders and engineers at that time. So they were writing emails that we want to implement this feature. How do we do this? Or there is a meeting, and then somebody would write down stuff we have to do, and then someone has a plan. I don't know, engineering manager has a plan or something, and then we would just start doing tasks.
So your first day, did you get a laptop? And
first I don't actually have an image of the day.
But you got a laptop?
Yeah, I got a laptop.
You got a desk? Like, how is it? It's like So in the startup was like an open space.
Yeah.
Was it in India? It's like cubicles or
No.
you
It's
have offices?
open space.
Everyone, even
Yeah.
the CEOs, the
Yeah.
founders, they're with you, next to you.
Yeah, they were. When I moved to this company, the company had hired some new place to move into, and yeah, it was kind of like open place. The founder had their own cubicles
Okay.
or cabins at that in that new building, but still they were very close to us because you could just go to the room and ask whatever question you have.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like I said, there is no Jira or nothing. So how do you keep track? You have to sometimes ask what is the priority, and I don't know, there is an ad banner which somebody has to place.
Yeah.
And you have to keep interacting with marketing guys or finance guys or whatever.
What was your first task? Do you remember?
Well, no, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So I can tell you mine. So back then the way they had organized it, they had like 12 VMs where they're running the systems. And then I wanted to do something. I wanted to install a new app or something. And I had to actually SSH to access each one of the servers. And to do this, I had to put my key, some kind of password in each server. And I said like, okay, how do I do this? And they're like, you have to go to each one of them manually. And then you're like, what? Like, isn't there like a better way? No, that's how we do it. So they used to go, 12 times. And then I kind of created a script to do that. And it was funny. Like all of this, like DevOps and all of these systems, that there was nothing. Yeah. So you don't remember what is your first name?
Not the first task, but our goal was to revamp the website, and my goal was I was working mainly on this component called data layer, we called it, and it was the one which was creating basically APIs for the front end itself.
Yeah.
So learning about REST APIs and creating APIs on top. This was the whole goal.
Did your engineering manager or the senior engineers, did they expect you to already know all of these things, or they taught you?
Not at all. Yeah, they taught us a lot as well, and they were also very supportive. Like for instance, I don't know, if I don't know about REST APIs, they were like, okay, they will just guide you, like, okay, hey, this is how you build REST APIs. Go read these articles or something. Or if you want
so
to
I would imagine
know about caching, go there and learn, and then
I would imagine them like screaming at you and like, so like, hey, you don't know this, what the fuck, you stupid.
Only if you fail. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, they are nice people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, otherwise you can't make a product like that.
Yeah. And what about the time? Like how long would you work?
Or like in a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think the difference come in Europe and India, at least for me at the time. Like there was probably no time of going home or coming to office.
Even when you signed the contract, there was nothing there?
I mean, yeah, for sure there was there, but life in India is a little bit, at least work life is not super balanced. So basically you could just come anytime, go anytime, and people were working quite a lot. It's very competitive in nature of working, and you have to keep up to the pace. There is always tasks to do, there was always projects to do, tasks, because like I said, it was Jira came a little bit late. Tasks. So
you'd get like an email saying you have to do this, and no, your team I guess got an email saying that they want to do this, and they would like attribute tasks, and everyone was working as much as they could.
Yeah, we were basically working on goal based at that moment. Like we had some goals to do, and then we assigned people to achieve that.
Okay.
So let's say there is a new marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Right, and now someone has to revamp a little bit of front end.
Yeah.
So we know that this person knows front end. Okay, you are assigned to this project. You do that.
Yeah. So for me, when I joined, they were starting with Agile. They also kind of starting with Jira, to be honest.
Okay.
No, they had it before because the company came from like a consultancy company. So my founder, he knew this other consultancy company, and a lot of the initial developers and designers and so on. They kind of worked together in this consultancy company, So we're kind of becoming independent, and within that we were implementing Scrum, which is basically how do you describe Scrum? Like a not a protocol, a process.
It's
like
a process.
yeah, it's a process, work process that is very much used in tech companies, and we're still like learning about all of this, but there were already tasks, and but I could see that before I joined. Probably it was maybe not with emails, but like also very like the founder and the CTO and the other two developers, and it was like they were just okay. We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah.
How do we make it? And they would just chat and.
Yeah.
But like we used to work also longer hours, but again like even in trivago we didn't have like a specific time, right? Like you could join, you know, maybe what I don't know. And I was joining at 11 or whatever, and then you leaving at 7 or 8 or whatever or 6. So in the startup, it was more or less like this. People would join or get to the office like at 9 and then leave at like, 5. So I guess 8 hours. Sometimes you would work a bit more. There were times, especially when you had a big release or some issues, that you would work a little bit longer. But I guess in general, people would stick to the 8 hours. Maybe the founder, no, they would work a little bit more. But then you could really see that the founder would work much more and then the employees a little bit less. Was it the same?
No, for us it was always the same. Like founders were also working quite a lot. Like,
but what is a lot? Like
a lot. I would like. There is no time, right? So I remember people even coming at 8 and leaving at 8 in the night.
12 hours.
So yeah, whatever time, depending on the task they have. And so same for founders and also for employees. Now it doesn't matter what position. People were depending on the task you have. Sometimes people would, or especially the pressure, right? Sometimes it could have like you could have a huge deadline or something, because we were a startup. Let's say, again, I will give the same example of marketing campaign. If there's a marketing campaign, we have to do it together because we are a small company and we have our marketing manager has signed up, set some stupid deadline and set some commitment or something, and now we are on it. So, and then you can't say no, because otherwise the company has a big loss, because for us it's a big chance to do this kind of campaign.
Right.
Also, you kind of connect with this culture that is kind of like your product. So in that sense also people do quite a lot.
So they would work like 12 hours a day.
Not like every
and
day,
weekends now. They would
every day or something. For us, I was working until Saturday. Our work day was only 6 days work days.
6 days?
Yeah.
Really?
Only Sunday we will get off. Yeah.
So you would go to the office on
Saturday? As well. Yeah, it only happened to me that Saturday was also off.
It only happened to you?
In Germany. Yeah.
So, in Germany?
Yeah.
So in India it's normal to work 6 days a week?
Nowadays I'm sure it has changed. Because even at my time in 2014, I'm talking about, even then we were talking about having 5-day week. And it was always like because founders had to decide that, and it was not happening. But I'm sure maybe nowadays it's different. I haven't had any chat with them.
Tell me about when things went wrong. So sometimes, I would screw up something and maybe the server would be down or having a problem with a campaign that would make lose some money. And my boss was always always on top of things, but always very polite and never screaming at you. Very like, okay, how can we fix it? Instead of, complaining and attributing blames. How is it in your company? Were like people screaming?
Well, actually, I do have a personal experience because we were working on relaunch of the website, and everything was ready. We were all ready, set to plan. We knew a date. We were going to make a switch. Everything was done. And remember, I said my task was to make the data layer. And at some point, we all did our testing and everything. I don't know, all different components. We made a launch, and website wouldn't work because it couldn't handle the traffic that time. And the new version. So later we found out that actually the data layer itself was not was not optimized enough to handle the. That's when I learned about performance testing and all that stuff. Yeah, so it was not a good time. Then I definitely got a bit of pressure that I had to fix it. because it was my component. Everybody,
Did they scream at
people
you?
didn't. Nobody screamed at me. Actually, I was thinking that what will happen now because it was my first failure. Kind of like professional failure. But eventually, actually, it went quite opposite. People were quite supportive, and founders were quite chilling. I even, like, once I remember the day I was like rushing towards the lunch, and one of the founders saw me sitting alone, and he just came to me, and I thought, okay, we're gonna talk about work, but he didn't talk about work at all.
Really?
Yeah, we were just having simple chat, nothing, and just I went back to my desk.
Yeah.
So it was taken quite well, actually, and then nothing like how you are imagining.
Yeah, exactly. And what about people getting fired? Is it like normal? Can you just like fire from one day to the other? Like, I know that, for instance, in Germany it's very hard to fire someone, and I had an unlimited contract in my startup. So after the 6 months, you have like a probation period. After that, it's very hard to fire you. How is it in India?
Actually, it's quite easy to fire people if you want.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So like tomorrow you are not coming and you don't get any more money.
I think you can say that. Probably there is this notice period. We had 1 month or something. But then other than that, it's okay.
So another thing that we spoke about this already before, but I'm always super surprised, which is one day you got to your boss and said at 5 I'm leaving. And everyone would stay and you would leave. So first of all, like, how did you make that happen? How did you keep your job?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I did I kept my job though. But how? I think because of my engineering manager. So my first engineering manager was the one who basically, and also not just him, the other engineers I worked there were also very smart people.
Yeah.
And they taught me a lot of things about coding, and not just coding and all that, but also how the work ethics. Like, you don't really have to sit in your front of your laptop, 10 hours to show your boss that you're working. You can just go home and chill and have your life and do the work. And I think this concept in my mind is coming from these people, because they taught me that this is.
Where did they learn that?
One of the engineering manager already had some few startups, and nowadays he is actually having a startup for coaching leaders. So he is definitely a great leader in general, I would say. So from his experience, he has always showed me this, that okay, if it's the stressful stuff, good idea would be to take a break or something, not just go sit there and try to make it work.
Don't brute force
exactly.
It, right? Like,
And I think that's what I adapted in myself. It's like, when I'm working very focused, and when I'm not, I want to also have my chill time. So I think that's what and since we were very close in the company, we were a small team. I was initial.
How many were you again?
We were like 5 engineers basically in the beginning.
And the company?
20 people maybe.
So it's the same as mine. Mine was like
also 20.
15 in the office, plus with some freelancers, like, would be like 20 or something.
But how many engineers were you?
Engineers, like, in the office, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah, but like front end, back end, apps, and then we had 2 or 3 more freelancing. Yeah,
so it's more or less the same.
Yeah. And by the way, mine were also super supportive. I've never had any problems. But okay, so you learned that, and one day you left at 5, or?
No, I mean, it's not like one day. It's not a switch also, because I also got used to in that work culture of working whatever. But slowly I tried to adapt this in myself, that I have to leave. And I had to turn off my laptop, maybe force myself in the beginning a bit. And then, founders were also quite chill, and they understood that, okay, if you want to work like that, okay, fine. I think the only catch was like, let's say there is a need to do something, then I wouldn't, and I think they also know that I wouldn't be like, sorry, I'm out of office.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's Sunday or something and there is a problem, website is down, I would be available on the laptop. And they know that. So I think that's why they were also quite chill about that.
And that's, by the way, a great thing to speak about here, because so in companies like Trivago, for instance, they have the on-call people. So people that are always, there's a procedure for this. Okay, today, Abhishek, you're on call, you're making extra money because of that, and you have a phone, and you have like a full procedure. In a startup, everyone is on call. Basically. There's no, and like, especially me, the DevOps engineer, like I got like my CTO and my boss sometimes sending me WhatsApp messages on a Sunday like, Tiago, what's happening here? Can you help? So I mean, yeah, was that the same?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Would they call you?
Yeah, for sure. Like 2 a.m. I have received calls.
Yeah.
Random. Like something is broken. I'm like, how is this broken? It was working like
Yeah,
3 hours before. But yeah, it had happened so far.
Yeah.
All the time.
One funny thing is like when I was trying to do something with the servers, and I asked, okay, who is your data center engineer? You know, the person that takes care of the servers, and he said like, is this guy is not here, but he's available after 9 p.m. I was like, what? Yeah, he's only available after 9 p.m. because there's another job. What?
Wow, nice.
So I literally like sometimes had to wait at 9 p.m. to like work with him. To call him and like work with him, and then the first thing I tried to do is like, okay, let's focus and move everything so that I can control everything. I didn't have access to certain servers or certain load balancers, for instance. I didn't have access to that. So if I wanted to add the new IP or something, he was the one that had to do it, and we like, or a VPN. So like we had to like work together and through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And then finally I was able to move everything to Kubernetes and we controlled everything. But like for the first like 6 months, at 9 p.m. I was chatting with this guy.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, I mean there's the same chaotic thing. I guess it's the same, right?
Yeah, the chaos is there.
The chaos is there.
Always, yeah.
And your company or the startup in India is still going, right? They're still
still going on. Still big.
They're still big. Great. Yeah, I cannot say the same for mine. It was acquired by trivago.
Yeah, but it was also a different situation, right?
Yeah.
For weekend.
Yeah, sure.
Corona.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Nice.
There's a lot of people from India listening to us right now.
Oh wow.
Actually, that's not true. But what would you say to them? Someone that is now a developer that is now joining a startup in India.
Oh shit.
What is like your one advice to them?
Run. No, I think the one advice is what I got was like that the work is never going to end and it's always going to be there. So you have to always take a break if you want to. And I think it not just applies to startup but everyone in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But especially in India, I guess. You have to set up the limits.
Probably, yeah. Maybe in India it's a bit more.
Yeah.
That you have to keep this work-life balance from your side and make sure it exists.
Yeah. Great tip, Abhi. Thank you, man. Abhishek, can you please convince people to become members of Wannabe
Should
Entrepreneur?
I say like, share, subscribe, something like that?
And become members. Because I don't have ads, so the only way to actually get support for this podcast is to get people to buy me a coffee.
Okay, guys, definitely I think Tiago has a great entrepreneurship spirit in himself, and I think you should support him if you like this podcast. So yeah, please support him and subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah. And this was another Wannabe Entrepreneur.
What?
You have to say see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.